Here's the agenda for today's video. This is what your notebook should look like. So every single time we take notes, we're going to use both sides of our notebook. The left side over here and the right side over here. We're always going to take notes on the right side of our page, and then you guys are going to do your practice problems on the left side. So let's talk a little bit about how to set this up. So at the top of both of those pages, I want you to write the exact same thing. So you should write LT 1.1 in a little box. That stands for Learning Target 1.1. And Learning Target 1.1 has 3 different things that we include in it. We include 1- and 2-step equations, combining like terms equations, and distribution equations. So go ahead and write that at the top in the open space where there's no lines. Pause the video now so you have time. The next section we're going to look at is the reviewing 1- and 2-step equations. I know some of you guys did this last year with Mr. Cornell, or you did it with your 8th grade teacher. So on the left side, over here, you're going to skip a line underneath your squiggly from your title, and you're going to write try it on your own so that you know these are your practice problems. You're going to skip a line underneath of that, and then you're going to write the title, Review 1- and 2-Step Equations. I put a 5 behind that title so that you know that there should be 5 equations in this space when you're all the way done with notes. Pause the video now if you need time to write it down. On the right side, underneath of your squiggly line from your title, you're going to put Review 1- and 2-Step Equations. You're going to skip a line. Then you're going to write those 4 equations. You're going to skip 3 lines, and then you're going to write those 3 equations. Pause the video now if you need time to finish writing. We're going to move on to reviewing 1- and 2-step equations. So you should already have set up your notebook to look like mine. We're going to start with x plus 1 equals 5. Now we are solving for the variable x, and so we're going to split our equation into 2 parts by drawing a line at the equal sign. In order to solve for x, I need to move that plus 1. The opposite of adding 1 is subtracting 1. Positive 1 minus 1 cancels out. All I'm left with on that side of the equal sign is an x, and 5 minus 1 is 4. Since I have x by itself, that's my answer. Now 7 equals y minus 3. We're solving for y. We're going to split our equation in 2. In order to get y by itself, I need to get rid of this minus 3. The opposite of minus 3 is adding 3. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Negative 3 and positive 3 cancel. All I have left on the right side is y. 7 plus 3 on the other side is 10. That's my final answer. Now I have negative 2m equals 6. When I have a number next to a letter, that means multiplication. So in order to undo that, I have to divide. So negative 2 on the bottom, both negative 2 and negative 2 cancel. All I'm left with is m, and then 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. M's alone, so I have my final answer. This one I have g over negative 8 equals negative 1. When I have a fraction, it represents division, so in order to undo that, I have to multiply both sides. Negative 8 times negative 8, those 2 parts cancel. All I'm left with is g. Negative 1 times negative 8 is 8. Go ahead and pause the video and use this space provided to answer these try it on your own questions. When you're ready, return to the video so you can check your work. Now let's look at 2-step equations. Again, we're trying to solve for the variable. So in this first equation, I'm going to split it in 2 parts at my equal sign. I have 2x plus 1. So I have a 2 and a 1 that are keeping x from being alone. I can move the 1 first because it's the furthest away from x on the same side. Opposite of adding 1 is subtracting. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. 2x is left. 5 minus 1 is 4. Now I have a 1-step equation, just like the negative 2m equals 6. Divide both sides by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Next equation, we're solving for y. I need to move the 6 and the 3. Then minus 3 is furthest away, so I can move it by adding on both sides. Then drop down my 6y. 9 plus 3 on the other side is 12. Now I have a 1-step equation. In order to get rid of that 6, I'm going to divide it on both sides. My 6 cancels. I'm left with y equals 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. My last equation here, I'm trying to solve for g, and I have g over negative 8 plus 2. My negative 8 and my 2 are my parts I need to move. Positive 2 is furthest away. I can move it by subtracting both sides. They cancel. G over negative 8 drops down. Negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Now in order to get rid of the -8, it's currently being divided, so I have to multiply it on both sides. All I have left is g. -3 times -8 is a positive 24. We're going to continue using this space to answer these two try it on your own problems. Please pause the video now. When you're ready, return to the video for the answers. Next, we're going to look at combining like terms. All right, we're ready to begin combining like terms, so let's set up that part of our notebook. On the left side of your page, underneath the reviewing 1- and 2-step equations of the practice problems, the try it on your owns, you should have the combining like terms. I put the number 3 behind this title so you know that there should be 3 equations that fit in this space. Pause the video if you need more time to set that part of your notebook up. On the right side, in the combining like terms section, you're going to want to skip a line from underneath of the work that you completed from the reviewing 1- and 2-step equation section. Write your combining like terms equations title, skip a line, write those 4 parts, skip 2 lines, write those 4 parts, skip 2 more lines, and then write this 1 part. Pause the video if you need time to set your notebook up with this information. So we're in this section of your notebook. When I have 10 plus 3, those are like terms because they're both numbers without variables. So 10 plus 3 is 13. The second part, I have 6x plus 4x. 6 x's plus 4 more x's means I have 10 x's. Now this third example, I've combined 6x and 10. And if you'll notice, 6x has a variable and 10 does not. So these are actually not like terms and I cannot combine them. So 6x plus 10 is the simplest form of this expression. The last example says 6x plus 10 plus 4x plus 3. So 6x is not like 10, but it is like 4x. So like my original example, 6x plus 4x, I can combine those two to make 10x, but I've used them up, and now remaining in my expression is this positive 10 and this positive 3. They both do not have a variable, which means they are like terms. Positive 10 and a positive 3 together makes 13. Now I have 10x plus 13. These two terms are not alike, so I cannot combine them, so that is the simplest form of that expression. Next set of examples here, we're going to start with 15 plus 2. These both do not have a variable, so they are like terms. 15 plus 2 makes 17. 3x minus 8x, they both have an x value, which means they are like terms. 3 minus 8 makes -5, and they are both x values, so we include that on there as well. -8x plus 2, these are not like terms, so -8x plus 2 is the simplest form of that expression. And then our last example, we have 15 plus 3x plus 2 minus 8x. If we look at 15, the like term with that is positive 2. When I combine them, I get 17. Cancel them from my original. All I have left is a positive 3x and a -8x. Positive 3x and -8x together makes -5x. 17 minus 5x are not like terms, so that's my simplest form. Last example here, you'll notice is very similar to the one we just did, except for there's an equal sign. Like the equations at the top, we're going to split our equation in half at our equal sign. So on the left side, let's see if there's some simplifying we can do, just like we've done with combining like terms above. 15 is not like 3x, but is like 2. And then on the other side, there's a 2, but since it's on the other side of the equal sign, we cannot combine it here. So 15 and 2 make 17. We cancel them out since they're no longer in use. 3x and -8x are like terms on the same side, so they make -5x together. 2 is on the other side all by itself, so we drop it down. Now I have a 2-step equation, just like the ones we solved at the beginning of class. I'm trying to solve for x. I need to move 17 and -5. I'm going to move the 17 by subtracting it on both sides. This side cancels. -5x equals -15. Now I have a 1-step equation. I want to solve for x. I have to get rid of that -5 by dividing. When I divide both sides by -5, I get x equals 3. All right, so in your notebook, under the combining like terms section, please use this space to solve the upcoming try it on your own problems. Pause the video now while you work it through, and when you're ready, return to the video for the answers. Now we're ready to try distribution equation. All right, we're on our very last section of notes today, so we're looking at distribution equations, so we need to set our notebook up. So we're going to set up the left side first. Underneath of the combining like terms practice problems you did on your own, write a distribution equation section. I put a 3 behind it just so you know that there should be 3 problems in this space before you finish. Pause the video if you need more time to set that part of your notebook up. On the right side, we're going to set up the distribution equation section. So you're going to skip a line underneath of the work that you completed for combining like terms. If for some reason your notebook is all the way at the bottom of the page, just start this over on the next page of your notebook, but make sure you do it on the right side. Write your title, skip a line, and then write those 4 equations. Pause the video if you need more time to write those down. You should have this part of your notebook set up and ready to go. Like I said, if you did not have room on this page, just turn to the very next page, but be sure to use the right side. So here we have 2 parentheses 4. When you have 2 outside of a parenthesis, it means we're using multiplication. So 2 times 4 is 8. There's no other values in there, so that is our simplification. Now I have 2 parentheses 5x. I'm still multiplying, just like I was with the 2 times 4. So 2 times 5 is 10, but with that 5 is an x, so 2 times 5x is 10x. Our third example is a combination of the first 2. Instead of just having 1 item inside the parentheses, I now have 2 items inside. So I have to take that 2 and multiply it not just by 5x, but I also have to multiply it by positive 4. So 2 times 5x is 10x, and 2 times positive 4 is a positive 8. 10x plus 8, they are not like terms, so that is the simplest form, just like the ones above, so we cannot combine them. The last example is an equation. So very similar to the ones we did above, we need to split our equation at the equal sign. On the left side, I can do some simplification. I can see that there's a 2 outside a parenthesis, which means I can distribute and multiply. 2 times 5x is 10x, 2 times 4 is a positive 8, and that negative 8 on the other side I didn't touch, so I drop it down. Now I have a 2-step equation just like the ones that we solved above. I'm going to solve for x. I need to get rid of what's furthest away on the same side, which is positive 8. So I subtract 8. Negative 8 minus 8 is negative 16. And now I have a 1-step equation. Get rid of the 10 by dividing. I don't know this off the top of my head, so I need to use my calculator. Negative 16 divided by 10 equals negative 1.6. Please use this part of your notebook to solve the try it on your own problems that are going to pop up on your screen. Pause the video while you work on them and return to the video when you're ready to check your answers. In your notes, you should have a try it on your own problem within the 1 and 2 step, combining like terms, and distribution equations sections. Please open up your photo booth, take a picture of that page of your notebook, and submit it under the picture submission for today's lesson. If you need additional practice on any of today's equation types, you can click the optional practice underneath of today's lesson. There are lots of online practices that you can use that provide the answers so you can check your work.